they say you should never meet your heroes, but in Cleveland, they say you should never trade your soul for a superstar. February 3rd, 2026, 4:17 p.m. The Cleveland Cavaliers didn't just make a trade. They didn't just swap point guards. They pulled the plug on their entire identity. Darius Garland, the kid they drafted, the kid who bled for the land, the kid who said, "I want to retire here." Gone. In his place, the most polarizing, most controversial, most dangerous player in NBA history, James Harden.
Gets around Mobley and straight to the rim. Put it in the highlight reel. Bucket this time down the floor. Oh my goodness! Sizzling. Harden shows off the handles. The step back. Oh my goodness! A virtuoso. 32.
This isn't just a trade, this is a $40 million gamble that will either deliver Cleveland a championship or burn the entire franchise to the ground. Today we're exposing the truth behind this deal, why Donovan Mitchell forced this move, how the Clippers just fleeced Cleveland, and why James Harden might be the final boss that destroys Cleveland's culture forever. This is the story of a franchise that just bet everything on a man who's never won anything. Let's start with the question everyone's asking. Why would a team trade a 26-year-old all-star for a 36-year-old on his sixth team? Because the core four was a lie. This season, Darius Garland played only 26 games. His toe injuries weren't just physical setbacks. They were a salary cap casualty. Cleveland entered 2026 with the most expensive payroll in the entire league. They were drowning in luxury tax penalties, paying $4 for every $1 over the line for a team that couldn't get past the second round. They needed a nuclear option. They needed to blow it up, but they couldn't admit it publicly. So they found a scapegoat. He's injury prone. He can't stay healthy. We need reliability. But here's what they're not telling you. Reports are surfacing leaked from inside the Cavaliers organization that Donovan Mitchell applied the pressure. He didn't want to wait for Garland to get healthy. He didn't want to wait for potential. He didn't want to wait for the core four to maybe work in 2 years. He wanted a co-star who could win today. He wanted a proven champion. Wait, scratch that. He wanted a proven scorer because James Harden has never won a championship. But in Donovan Mitchell's mind, the beard is the answer. So Cleveland made a choice. They chose Mitchell's now over Garland's future. They chose the final boss over the homegrown hero. And Darius Garland, he found out the same way you did, on Twitter. Alright, let's be real for a second. Say what you want about James Harden. Call him a choker. Call him washed. Call him a playoff disappointment. But the numbers don't lie. This season, James Harden is averaging 25.4 points and 8.1 assists per game. That's his best scoring year since he left Houston in 2021. And here's where it gets scary for the rest of the Eastern Conference. For Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen, this is a dream. James Harden is the greatest pick-and-roll maestro of this generation. He made Ivica Zubac look like an all-star. Just imagine what he'll do for the Twin Towers in Cleveland. Mobley gets easy lobs, Allen gets wide-open dunks, Mitchell gets catch-and-shoot threes. On paper, this is the best offense in the NBA.
I also talked to Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley, and Coach, you know this, Kenny, you know this. What did James do with Joel Embiid? He helped him get an MVP. What did he do with Zubac? He gave Zubac the best time of his career. And they were, how did the young kids do? They do that, right? They're ready to eat, man. Jarrett Allen and Mobley, they're ready for these alley-oops, these easy buckets. They're about to eat, and this team feels like they're launched a place to compete for a championship. Last thing I'll say about Donovan, he said this is the first time in his career that management said, I'm going to get you an A-star to join you. And he's really, really excited to be with James Harden.
But there's a catch. There's always a catch with Harden. James Harden holds the ball for an average of 6 seconds every time he touches it. That is the longest in the entire NBA. How does that fit with Donovan Mitchell, a guy who needs the ball to be effective? How does that fit with a Cleveland offense that was built on ball movement? Cleveland just traded a connector for a conqueror. They traded flow for force. They traded chemistry for chaos. And here's the question that's keeping Cleveland fans up at night. What happens when the playoffs start? What happens when the pressure mounts? What happens when James Harden, the man who's never won a championship, has the ball in his hands with the season on the line? Does he deliver, or does he disappear again? But wait. While everyone's talking about Cleveland's gamble, nobody's asking the real question. Did the Clippers just pull off the heist of the century? Think about it. The Clippers were 6-21 to start the season. They were a retirement home for aging stars. Kawhi Leonard's knees are held together with duct tape. Paul George is gone. They were dead. By trading Harden, they just got 10 years younger. They got a 26-year-old all-star on a reasonable contract. They got a bridge to the post-Kawhi era. They got a future. If Garland gets healthy, and that's a big if, the Clippers just pulled off a masterclass in rebuilding on the fly. They turned a 36-year-old liability into a 26-year-old asset. Steve Ballmer is somewhere right now cackling. Meanwhile, Cleveland is left holding a $42.3 million player option for next year. If Harden fails in the playoffs like he has so many times before, Cleveland is stuck. They have no picks, they have no Garland. They have a 37-year-old James Harden taking up half their salary cap. And if Donovan Mitchell decides he's had enough if he walks in 2027, Cleveland becomes the biggest what-if in sports history. The Clippers got younger, Cleveland got desperate. And desperation never wins championships. So, let's answer the question that's burning through the NBA right now. Did Cleveland just make the smartest move of the trade deadline? Or did they just destroy themselves? The NBA trade deadline is about choices. Cleveland chose desperation over development. They chose the final boss over the homegrown hero. They chose now over forever. If it works, if Harden and Mitchell figure it out, if they somehow mesh their games and dominate the East, Cleveland is in the NBA Finals. They're championship contenders. They're vindicated. But if it fails, if Harden chokes in the playoffs again, if Mitchell demands out, if the chemistry never clicks, Donovan Mitchell walks in 2027, James Harden opts out, and the Cleveland Cavaliers become the biggest disaster in modern NBA history.
Yeah, they're tired of falling short, quite frankly, and James Harden is obviously going to add to the hopeful lore of the Cleveland franchise. He is the first player in NBA history to change teams midseason multiple times as an NBA player. The Cavs hope he can help get them over that postseason hump, but deep playoff runs have not been Harden's forte as of late. In his last 13 seasons since he left OKC, Harden has appeared in just 2 conference finals and 0 NBA finals.
James Harden has been looking for a ring for 17 years. He's been to the finals, he's been the MVP, he's been the scoring champion, but he's never been the champion. Cleveland just gave him his final chance. But did they just destroy themselves to do it? We're about to find out. Alright, I need to know your side right now. Is this a W or an L for Cleveland? If you think Harden and Mitchell are the best backcourt in the Eastern Conference, if you think Cleveland just became instant finals favorites, type the land in the comments right now. If you think Cleveland just threw their entire future away for a 36-year-old who's never won anything, if you think this is the biggest mistake in franchise history, type betrayal. I'm reading every single comment, and trust me, this debate is about to get heated. And listen, don't go anywhere, because what I'm about to show you next makes this Harden trade look like child's play. Operation Luka. The Lakers just made a move that will break the internet. Anthony Davis to Washington, LeBron's final season, and a trade package so insane it might be illegal. That video drops in 24 hours. You're not going to want to miss it. The NBA just exploded, and we're just getting started.